It has no cure, it has no mercy, and for decades it has been one of the most feared pathogens ever documented by modern science. Its name comes from a river, the Ebola River, in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the virus was first identified in 1976. That same year, 2 simultaneous outbreaks erupted in Central Africa, killing between 50 and 90% of everyone infected. Scientists had never seen anything like it. There are 5 known strains of the Ebola virus. 4 of them can kill you. The deadliest, Zaire Ebola virus, carries a fatality rate that has reached as high as 90% in certain outbreaks. 9 out of every 10 people who contracted it did not survive. Since 1976, the virus has caused over 30 documented outbreaks. The largest in history struck West Africa between 2014 and 2016, infecting more than 28,000 people and killing over 11,000. It crossed borders, it reached Europe, it reached the United States, and it reminded the world of something it keeps forgetting. No virus respects a passport. So, what exactly does this pathogen do once it enters the human body? What happens inside, hour by hour, day by day, as this microscopic thread of genetic code begins to dismantle a living person from the inside out? That is what this video is about. If you are watching this channel for the first time, this is the kind of content we bring you. Science without filters, health without sugar coating, and knowledge that could one day make a real difference. Subscribe now and never miss a video that matters. Before we go further, one important note. This content is educational and informational in nature. It does not replace medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment from a qualified health professional. If you have concerns about infectious disease or your health, speak with your doctor. Now, let us talk about what Ebola actually is, and destroy one dangerous myth first. Most people in the Western world carry a comfortable assumption. Ebola is an African problem, a distant crisis, something that happens on another continent, far from airports and modern hospitals. That assumption has already been proven wrong. It nearly cost lives on American and European soil during the 2014 epidemic. The World Health Organization has been unambiguous. In a world where a person can board a flight in Kinshasa and land in New York within hours, no outbreak is truly regional. Ebola is not an African problem. It is a human problem. Now, let us go inside the body, stage by stage, because this virus does not attack all at once. It is methodical, it is patient, and it is, from a purely biological standpoint, extraordinarily effective at what it does. Stage 1, the entry, the invisible invasion. Imagine your immune system as a network of security cameras installed throughout a building. Every entrance, every corridor, every room monitored. The moment an intruder appears, alarms go off, and guards are dispatched. It is a system that has protected the human body for hundreds of thousands of years. Ebola does not trigger the alarms, not at first. The virus, a long, thread-like filament visible only under an electron microscope, enters the body through direct contact with the blood, bodily fluids, or tissue of an infected person or animal. It can enter through broken skin, through the eyes, nose, or mouth. It is not airborne the way influenza is, but it does not need to be. One exposure, under the right conditions, is enough. Once inside, Ebola immediately targets the very immune cells designed to detect and destroy it. Dendritic cells and macrophages, the immune system's first responders, become infected themselves. Instead of raising the alarm, they begin producing copies of the virus. They carry it deeper into the body before the rest of the immune system even knows something is wrong. This incubation period lasts between 2 and 21 days, with an average of 8 to 10. During this entire window, the infected person feels nothing. They may look healthy, they may travel, they may sit on a plane, and the virus multiplies quietly in the darkness of their own cells. Stage 2, the fever. When the body finally realizes what is happening, at some point, the immune system catches up. This is when the first symptoms appear, and they are brutally ordinary: sudden fever, intense headache, muscle pain, fatigue so overwhelming that some patients describe it as being crushed from the inside. If you saw someone at this stage, you would think they had the flu. This is one of the most dangerous features of Ebola in its early phase. It looks like dozens of other illnesses. In regions where malaria, typhoid, and other febrile diseases are common, Ebola's initial presentation is nearly indistinguishable from conditions treated routinely. This delay in recognition, sometimes by days, is one of the key factors that allowed the 2014 outbreak to grow as large as it did before containment could begin. Stage 3. The cascade. When the immune system becomes the weapon. This is where Ebola diverges from almost every other infectious disease known to medicine. The human immune response, when pushed beyond its limits, can become more destructive than the pathogen it is fighting. This phenomenon, called a cytokine storm, pronounced SY-tokine storm, is what transforms Ebola from a severe illness into a systemic catastrophe. Cytokines are chemical distress signals. In normal circumstances, they recruit immune cells and ramp up inflammation precisely where it is needed. But Ebola triggers this response at an abnormal scale. The immune system panics. It floods the entire body with distress signals simultaneously, and every organ begins to suffer the collateral damage of a defense system in full breakdown. Blood vessels begin to leak. The walls of the capillaries become permeable in ways they are not designed to be. Fluid escapes into surrounding tissue. Blood pressure drops. Research published in The Lancet and supported by the National Institutes of Health confirms that this vascular collapse is central to how Ebola kills, not only through direct tissue destruction, but through the chain reaction of damage the immune response itself creates. Patients deteriorate rapidly. Severe abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea. Dehydration becomes life-threatening, not over days, but over hours. Stage 4. The hemorrhage. The image the world remembers. Not every Ebola patient bleeds visibly, but hemorrhaging, internal and sometimes external, does occur in a significant portion of severe cases. And when it does, it is among the most disturbing manifestations of any disease in modern medicine. The virus depletes platelets, the cellular components responsible for clotting. Clotting factors are consumed faster than the liver can produce them, and the liver, by this stage, is already failing. Patients may bleed from injection sites, from the gums, from the gastrointestinal tract. In the most severe cases, hemorrhaging occurs from multiple sites simultaneously. The medical term is disseminated intravascular coagulation, a state in which the body's clotting system activates uncontrollably throughout the bloodstream, consuming all available clotting factors and leaving the patient unable to stop any bleeding at all. It is this phase that gave rise to the descriptions you may have read of a virus that liquefies organs, that turns the body against itself in the most visceral way imaginable. Organs do not literally dissolve, but they fail, they shut down. And the hemorrhaging that accompanies that failure is real, catastrophic, and unlike almost anything else in clinical medicine. Stage 5. The decision point. Who lives and who does not? Somewhere between day 5 and day 10 of symptomatic illness, Ebola patients reach a critical threshold. What happens here determines survival. Patients who survive do not do so because the virus gives up. They survive because their immune system, battered, depleted, under extreme physiological stress, manages to generate a sufficient antibody response before organ damage becomes irreversible. The margin between survival and death can be measured in hours. The World Health Organization is clear. Aggressive supportive care is what saves lives, replacing the enormous fluid losses, maintaining blood pressure, managing secondary infections, keeping the patient alive long enough for their own immune system to mount a response. Now, there are warning signs that demand immediate action. If you or anyone around you has recently been in a region with a known Ebola outbreak and develops any of the following, this is a medical emergency. Sudden high fever above 38.6 degrees Celsius with severe headache and muscle pain within 21 days of potential exposure. Unexplained bleeding or bruising from the gums, injection sites, or in urine and stool. Severe vomiting and diarrhea leading to rapid dehydration. A rash across the body appearing alongside fever. Confusion or sudden loss of consciousness in someone with recent travel history to an affected area. The CDC is unambiguous. Isolate immediately, call emergency services, inform medical personnel of the potential exposure before any physical contact is made. This is not a routine clinic visit. Time matters here in ways most illnesses simply do not demand. Share this video with someone who needs to see it. Not tomorrow. Now. The people most at risk are often the least informed. Here is what you can do, regardless of where you live. This week, check the current status of Ebola activity worldwide. The World Health Organization publishes real-time outbreak updates at no cost. If you travel internationally to Central or West Africa, read the CDC travel health notices before departure. Know the incubation window. 21 days is the monitoring period after potential exposure. Take it seriously. In the coming months, if you are a healthcare worker, first responder, or plan to travel to endemic regions, speak with your doctor about vaccination. A vaccine, RVSV-Zebov, known commercially as Ervebo, has been approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration for protection against Zaire Ebola virus. That conversation could matter more than you expect. Long term, understand what the 2014 epidemic actually taught the world. Ebola is not unstoppable. What determines whether an outbreak stays local or goes global is response time, healthcare capacity, and coordinated action. Those outcomes are shaped by informed citizens who understand what is at stake. Knowledge is not passive. Sharing it is one of the most powerful acts of public health there is. Ebola has been with humanity for nearly 50 years. It has killed thousands. It has been contained repeatedly through courage, science, and coordinated human effort. It will emerge again. The question is not whether the world is lucky enough to avoid it. The question is whether the world is prepared enough to stop it. Leave a comment below. Have you ever seriously thought about pandemic preparedness? Or is this the first time a video made you stop and consider it? Tell us. Your answer shapes what we bring you next. If this video gave you something real, hit like and subscribe. This channel exists to bring you the science that actually matters, without filters, without sensationalism, and without leaving you less informed than when you arrived. And share this with someone who believes these things only happen far away, with a colleague in healthcare, with anyone who deserves to understand the world they are living in. Send it now, because the best time to learn about a virus like this is before you ever need to know. Stay informed, stay prepared. The world does not get safer by looking away.